Hello, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays. Thanks for joining us for Access City Council. I'm your host, City of Las Vegas Communications Director, David Riggleman. Coming up in this show, an organization committed to tackling what it calls a dual threat: accelerated climate change and the disappearance of various habitats and species. Joining us for this conversation about conservation is our councilwoman who represents Ward 6. Of course, it's Nancy Brune. Happy holidays to you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
It's good to have you back on the show. Of course, you represent Ward 6, but our discussion today is really going to go far beyond wards. It's going to encompass the whole world.
The whole state.
Exactly, exactly right, exactly. So we'll show everybody where Ward 6 is located, your area of the city of Las Vegas. Of course, if you live out in Ward 6, then you are represented on the city council by Nancy Brune. And that is that area on the map right there. Is the Great Northwest area, really growing very quickly. And so our topic today about preserving that balance between nature and human beings doing their thing is going to be an important one, Councilwoman. So let's bring our guest on. What do you think? You know, it's an organization tackling some of the world's most complex environmental issues. The Nature Conservancy is located in more than 80 countries and has an office right here in Nevada. And joining us for this timely discussion is the state director of the Nature Conservancy. She's a friend of this program, and it's Mauricia Baca. Welcome back. It's great to see you on here again. Great to have you back. Councilwoman, I think you're aware, Mauricia was the head of Get Outdoors Nevada previously.
Yes. We've known each other for 10 years, and as we headed into the holiday season, I know I'm so grateful and thankful for all the amazing organizations here in Nevada that are protecting our states and making our communities and our landscapes better. And I know the last time we had lunch, I was amazed to learn all of the things that the Nature Conservancy is doing. And I think most people don't know. So I'm really excited to bring Mauricia on to share with us the great work they're doing around the state to protect so many different aspects of what we think of as landscapes, habitats, animals, waterways. So
You're here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
it's
great to have you back. Great to have you back.
And I'm thankful for this on this Thanksgiving Day to be able to join you and have this opportunity to share about the work that the Nature Conservancy has been doing. Nancy and I met just the other day, and I think Nancy and many other people I've spoken with have been surprised to learn that the Nature Conservancy has actually been in Nevada for over 40 years. This is actually our 40th anniversary year that we've been working here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And so while TNC it's a large environmental organization, but part of what I love about the fact that it is large, we're in every state in the United States and 81 different countries and territories. But that gives us this opportunity to work at a scale, but also to work locally in places here like Nevada, because it's just critical to be on the ground, being able to work with communities on the issues that we're all facing. And Nevada has just so much about it that is so special, and that's why we're here.
Talk a little bit about what the organization does overall. What's the purpose of the Nature Conservancy? Why was it founded? What's the mission?
Well, happy to. The organization was actually founded 73 years ago, almost to the day, October 19th, so a few days passed. But 73 years ago, by a group of women who were organizing to preserve land that they cared about. There was land at peril and a beautiful waterfall that they were looking to protect.
Really? Where was it?
This is in New York State.
In New York State.
So they actually mortgaged their homes, came together and protected that. And that's how the Nature Conservancy got its start. But the organization has done so much since then. As I noted, we're now in all the different states and across the world. And what we would look at is a couple of different ideas here. We're looking to protect the land and waters upon which all life depend. So a large sounding mission, but deeply important. Provide food sustainably to the communities that depend on this planet.
For sure.
And then tackling climate change and biodiversity. You were talking about that dual crisis of both the fact that we see the climate shifting around us, and we're also trying to make sure that we balance biodiversity.
It's a big mission.
It's a big mission.
We'll talk a little bit about what you're doing here in Nevada. I know this is one of the things that's really intrigued the two of us, and then we can also bring it back to Las Vegas. But talk in general about Nevada as a whole.
I know we talked about fire mitigation, how you're helping with that and protecting the waterways. Maybe not directly close by here, but I think again it just is fascinating to learn all the things that you're doing
Well, there is so, well, one of the things that just to kind of lay a foundation is I talk to so many people who, especially people who aren't from Nevada, who are like, why are you doing nature in Nevada? What kind of nature is there in Nevada? I'm like,
What are you talking
Nevada
about?
is a spectacular state. And I am thankful for how spectacular it is. We have over 300 species that occur in Nevada and nowhere else.
Wow.
So many people are unaware of that.
Plants and animals?
Plants and animals. We are actually the 11th most biodiverse state in the nation.
Really?
Gosh.
We are.
Who knew?
I know, who
Yeah.
knew? Exactly. But we are number 3 for the level of risk to that biodiversity.
Because of the dryness?
There's the dryness. There, of course, we've been in drought now for
right.
over 20 years. So there are so many challenges facing us. Here in Nevada, I think of it as this testing ground and a place where there's so much opportunity because we have so many communities that care and we're dealing with so many of the challenges that are really affecting people around the world. We're dealing with drought. We're dealing with wildfire. We're looking at how we balance that energy build out, that transition to different forms of energy, and how we do it in a way that really makes for a sustainable planet where we all thrive together.
Yeah.
So, given that we're the 11th most biodiverse state,
Yeah.
but we're number 3 in risk.
Yes.
What do other states have that we need to maybe develop to better address the risk? What are the opportunities for improving the way that we address the risk and mitigate it?
It's such an interesting and good question. And I think one of the opportunities we have is, and some might say it's almost a challenge and an opportunity, in Nevada where we have so much federal land, because we have almost 85% federal land, there's some opportunities, I think, in working on policy with our federal agencies, specifically on the green energy build out. You know, we're seeing the industrial scale solar, we're seeing the touching down of rare earth mineral mining. And these are things that are important. They're necessary for us as we transition away from high carbon sources of energy, you know, as a national security matter, all of that. It's all necessary. And at the same time, we want to make sure that we're balancing the way that that touches down on plants and animals, and of course on communities, because our rural communities, our indigenous communities, they're all impacted by these changes that are coming at us. So I think in some ways we have things to learn, but we also have things that we can share to the rest of the states as we go forward and chart a better path forward on how we can transition to these different types of energy sources. And we also have things to share in terms of how we've demonstrated water conservation.
Oh, for sure, yeah. We are definitely
communities come so
global
far,
leaders
yeah.
in water conservation, for sure.
It really is spectacular. I mean, the Colorado River is one of the projects that the Nature Conservancy, you know, for obvious reasons, works on. And we work in every state across the Colorado River Basin and Mexico. And of course, here in Southern Nevada, I think we have shown that you can balance humans and nature through conservation.
Right.
And it's something where I think that's one of the many opportunities where it's us sharing our lessons with the rest of the world about how we've moved forward.
We've come a long way in that regard.
We've come a long way. And we also have, I think, opportunities when it comes to things like groundwater. Most people don't think of groundwater. It's literally like your blood vessels. You don't see it, but without it,
nothing can happen. Nothing can thrive.
happen.
Yeah,
Nothing
yeah.
can thrive. So that's one of the areas that we're focused on as well, because in the rest of the state, when you get away from the Colorado River, we're really dependent on groundwater for agriculture. Anything that you see as you drive through the Mojave or the beautiful Sagebrush Sea, like all these landscapes, most of them really are dependent on groundwater. Nevada is such an interesting state. Many Southwest states are like this, where our basins, and they're called basins the way that they're set up, many of them are fully appropriated or over appropriated, meaning that like 100% of the water is appropriated to some specific use, or even more than 100%. And that math doesn't quite work.
Yeah.
So it's like, how as a state can we work together to do things like retire some of those water rights? Well, how can we find solutions that can help us continue to be sustainable? Because the thing is, like, if nature is sustainable and the plants and animals thrive, communities will thrive.
Sure.
The water for plants and animals is water for communities.
And if it's
people.
exhausted, then it may never come back, too.
Exactly. For many of these sources for groundwater, it can take hundreds of years for that to replenish. But the good news is we do have opportunities and tools and ways to work together.
Talk about what you're doing in Las Vegas. I know we've seen this past summer, Councilwoman and I talked about this on this program. It was brutally hot, brutally hot. Reno, I know, is experiencing a dramatic increase in its annual temperatures. I know you guys are working to try to help mitigate some of those situations in both those cities.
Oh, it's such a good question. Reno and Las Vegas are actually the two fastest warming cities in the nation, which is just incredible because we're already fairly warm as it is. But one of the incredible opportunities that we have in both places is actually bringing back trees, desert appropriate trees. Because not all trees are created equal. Some are better for the desert.
We don't want to have a red oak in the middle of Las Vegas, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But planting trees that create shade, it's one of the simplest things you can do and one of the most important things you can do because it literally alters the temperature in a community.
Yeah.
And we have many communities, as we know. When Las Vegas was first developed, it was a smaller place in the middle of nature.
Right.
You didn't have that worry. So now we're kind of having to come back in and re-engineer.
Yeah.
We're partnering with UNLV, Professor Allison Sloat, and the University of Las Vegas, Nevada, are doing some incredible work. And one of the things that she's really focusing on is some of our most at-risk individuals, which are our youth. The kids who are in playgrounds, for instance, that don't have trees. So many of the playgrounds of our schools and so many of the communities where you walk to school, there isn't tree cover.
Yeah.
And it's just, you have these poor kids out there and you could essentially almost like cook a bowl of soup just on the asphalt of
this past summer. It was so brutally hot. And those of us that have lived here a long time, I think we're stunned by just how hot it was this past summer.
It is.
And just when you think it couldn't get any hotter, it gets hotter.
Exactly.
And as we know, our school year starts in August and it goes through May, and it's hot in the beginning and at the end of those times.
Some of the schools' air conditioning systems went out.
Yeah,
I mean, we have a
because
lot of old schools. You don't think about that, but it's a lethal combination.
And one of the things that Professor Sloat has been looking at as well is training the horticulturalists of the future. As we know, trees don't care for themselves when you plant them somewhere like a city. They need people to maintain them. And so there's actually a professional development opportunity here for young people as well, as they become the people who care for these trees.
That's an exciting project. I know the city's very much involved in that urban forestry effort to try to plant more trees as well. They make a huge difference.
There are a number of different partners who are lucky enough to receive grants a couple of years ago, and it's definitely one of those where I think the more the merrier in terms of being engaged in planting trees and making sure that we're looking at cooling down our city.
Well, if you're involved in it, I know that it's going to be successful because all the organizations you've worked with in the past, Get Outdoors Nevada, our Healing Garden Project after the October 1 shooting back in 2017, Mauricia was an integral partner in helping that come to life and then sustain it over the years. And
that's a beautiful place.
Like I say, if you're working on other projects, I know they're going to be successful because your track record speaks for itself. So,
well, that is so kind of you. I have been very fortunate to be able to work with some great organizations. When I was at Get Outdoors, one of the things that helped me understand and appreciate talking about nature here is the trails and the open space that we have here in our community. And it's just so vitally important. That experience of nature is vitally important. The Healing Garden is emblematic of how a space that's devoted to nature can help you heal and can really bring people together.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that, Mauricia. I was just reading something the other day that said that people who get out in nature, their emotional well-being is far better than people who stay shut up all the time, shut up indoors. So there's clinical studies that back this up, that getting out in nature is really good for your emotional well-being.
It's so true. As just a sharing very personal matter, I went through the treatment for breast cancer September 2021 through May 2022. And I had some people ask me, well, now that you're going through this treatment for breast cancer, is the environment really that important to you? I'm like, it's more important than ever.
Wow.
For one thing, I realized that like I'm not here forever. I want a beautiful, thriving planet here for everybody else, for my children, for my grandchildren. And while I was going through treatment, taking walks, being outside, looking at the incredible mountains that we have surrounding Las Vegas, you know, seeing the hummingbirds and, you know, like the Cooper's hawk in my neighborhood, like that just gave me life. And to your point, nature, when we save nature, we save ourselves. And I think that's a critical point.
Well said. Well said. You're doing well now, we take it. So very good.
Well.
Very good. Because you're an asset to our state. We need you around a long time. Hey, Councilwoman, is there anything else you'd like to ask? We got Mauricia for about another 5 minutes or so.
Well,
It's been such a fascinating
some
discussion.
Really specific, just conversation around some of the other projects you're doing around the state.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned the Truckee Meadows up north.
Yes, one of the things that we've been engaged on is the Truckee River for many years. And on the upper and middle Truckee River, an important element to focus on there is the forest around that area.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful, and we need to make sure that we're caring for it by thinning it, by taking steps to ensure that the forest is healthy. Because if there were a fire that affected that upper and middle Truckee River, you know, obviously we've seen the impacts of wildfires, and we want to make sure that we take steps to avoid catastrophic wildfires.
It would be catastrophic,
It would be. And the thing is, we know the steps that we can take. We have actually a preserve in northern Nevada called Independence Lake. We acquired it many years ago from NV Energy. And at that preserve, we've been doing forest thinning. We've been doing what they call prescribed fire, which is really coming back to some of the practices that indigenous peoples practiced many years ago. And looking at how we can manage that forest to keep it really healthy. Because I think all of us know for so many years we were so actively and aggressively suppressing fire that we actually created more fuel for fire. There's this photographs that I saw once that was just incredible. It showed an area that had been treated ahead with prescribed fire and thinning right next to an area that hadn't been treated. The area that hadn't been treated after a fire just was wiped out. The area that had been treated was coming back faster and greener and more healthy than ever, just so much more quickly. And again, it comes back to that same theme. What's good for nature is good for us. So taking these steps that it's actually really good for nature and supporting it is also really good for us, because catastrophic wildfires, that's not good for anything.
Be awful.
Yeah.
What's next for the Nature Conservancy in Nevada? What are you up to next and in Las Vegas?
One of the things that we really are focused on is that balance. I talked earlier about transitioning to that new energy future. So looking at ways that we can do what we call Smart from the Start, building out. And also a program that we look at called Mining the Sun. So Smart from the Start is from the very beginning, making sure that you're picking the right places. Because we know that there are lower conflict, medium conflict, and higher conflict areas. Let's try and find those places that are the best for our commercial purposes and our energy purposes, but the lowest conflict. And by lowest conflict, the least impact to plants and wildlife and communities. And then on the flip side, we have a lot of places here in Nevada that we have already been developing for mines. And so the Nature Conservancy has worked in many places on this program called Mining the Sun. You know, let's repurpose areas that have already been disturbed. And continue having them work for us, as opposed to disturbing
something new.
That are fresh. Exactly. And we have those opportunities. We have those opportunities in and around Southern Nevada and throughout Nevada.
That's great.
Is the Mining the Sun program something you're only doing in Nevada, or have you piloted that in other states?
No, we've actually done it in other states, and it might not surprise you. West Virginia is a state, for instance, where we've deployed that. There are a lot of other states, and again, this is an idea that kind of was birthed here in Nevada.
Oh, wow.
You know, but it's something that we've exported to other places.
Of course we have.
You know?
Of course we came up with it. You know, so.
Nevada.
Well, that's so nice to
we're in a
hear
great
because
state.
we're, you know, in the education space, we're always like last, and it's really nice. It's refreshing when I've been hearing other sort of data points where we're actually leading the conversations, and whether it be conservancy or conservation. There's some other data point too that I heard that we were leading. So it's just great. There's a lot of great stuff here.
There's a lot of great
Mauricia,
stuff.
we're just about out of time. If people would like to get involved with the organization, what should they do?
Well, if you just go to nature.org and look up Nevada, because the Nature Conservancy is large, but you can find information about Nevada there. You can find out about our preserves. Come and visit our preserves. We have volunteer opportunities, so come on in
awesome.
and sign up for a newsletter and track
How many
us
members
with
do you have, you think, all told in Nevada?
You know,
probably?
I'm actually not sure of our exact members number in Nevada. We've got a couple of thousand members in Nevada.
That's a big group.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah,
So.
yeah. But yeah, we're always looking for more people to get involved and engaged.
And you get to work with Mauricia Baca, which is awesome.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
It is such a pleasure to be able to spend time. And again, I'm thankful that I'm able to do this work that I care about and that I love. And
So are we.
what a great
we're
opportunity
thankful that we
to
get
be
to
here and
have
talk
you
to you
here.
about it.
So,
Yeah, we're lucky to
Yeah.
have you on board for sure. So, Mauricia, happy holidays to you. Great to have you on the show again. We'll have you back. I love it. We love having you a recurring guest. And Councilwoman, have you stick around because we've got some more things to talk about. All
Yes.
right. Folks, we need to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to tell you about some wonderful events coming up in Ward 6. It's right after this.
They say that when you're facing extreme danger, your life flashes before you. If you think that's sad, consider facing it before you even have enough life to flash before your eyes. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Deaths and injuries can be prevented by using the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to know what is appropriate for each age and size.
Welcome back, everyone. We're talking with Ward 6 Councilwoman Nancy Brune. And Councilwoman, some great events coming up. It's that holiday season.
Yes, we're in overdrive for the holiday
We are.
season.
And I love the first one. This is a really great tradition. It's the Cowboy Christmas is coming up
Yes.
on December 7th.
Yep, it's our annual event, Cowboy Christmas and Classic Car Show.
That's right,
So
that's
we're
right.
still looking for folks to participate as vendors or come show your car. We had, I think, 50 cars there last year, and my goal this year is 100 cars.
Oh, I like that. I
Yeah.
like that.
And
So-
registration is free if you bring a unwrapped toy. If not,
very
then
good.
it's easy, $25 to show your car.
And you can
We've got
email-
some great prizes.
Exactly. If you're interested, if you got a classic car, you can email the Councilwoman's office at Ward 6 at LasVegasNevada.gov or call 229-5463 and her team will hook you up, get your car out there. Love to have you bring it out and show it off. And you're going to have music and everything at this thing.
Yep, live music.
Yeah.
That's a new feature. And we're going to do a ranch house decorating contest.
I like
so
it.
not gingerbread, but again, you know, sticking with the Ward 6 and our rural lifestyle, a
Very
ranch house.
creative. Did you
Yeah,
come up with that?
I did.
Look
A
at
ranch
that.
house, yeah.
Jeez.
And then apple cider, cocoa, coffee,
It'd be
free
awesome.
while supplies last.
10
So-
to 2, Floyd Lamb Park at Tule
Yep.
Springs, Saturday, December
And
7th.
Santa will be there too.
Santa
So
always comes to Cowboy
Yes.
Christmas.
There's nothing better than pictures with Santa at our beautiful Floyd Lamb Park. Maybe a peacock in the background.
People take advantage of that. They
Yeah.
get those photos with Santa at that event. So coming up, and then the very next day, Councilwoman, the Equestrian Posadas Christmas Festival. This is going to be December 8th, Sunday, December 8th from 11 to 3. This is at Teton Trails Park.
Yes, yep. And I love this event. They've asked us now a couple of years to host it in Ward 6, I think, because we do have such a rural tradition.
Yeah.
And so for me, I love it
horses,
because it's
yeah.
a combination. It kind of pays homage to our rural lifestyle in Ward 6, but then also our Latino Catholic traditions. And so we will, on horseback, do a sort of parade around the block, and then have some sort of horse shows and a whole show with the horses.
Posada in Spanish means inn, and it's to commemorate the Holy Family's trip and no room at the inn. You know the story, and it kind of commemorates that, and it's part of the ceremony. But there's a lot of other stuff going on, as Councilwoman mentioned.
They had free, we had free soup last year and hot chocolates. That was a great. I think we had over 2,000 people there last year, and it'll be nice because this year we're moving it to be a little bit earlier because it was really cold last year, and so hopefully we'll get it'll be a little warmer.
Get nice weather that day for sure. And then the hits just keep rolling here, Councilwoman. Then on December 11th, it's your small business breakfast. That's going to be on a Wednesday.
Yes, Wednesday from 8:30 to 10 at the Active Adult Center in Centennial Hills. We'll have a free breakfast tacos, and a speaker. And we always allow time for small businesses to share, what their business is, and then network. If
you've got a small business, especially out in the Ward 6 area, love to have you out there. You can network, tell people about what you do. I've learned a lot about the businesses around the city through these small business discussions. Some of them have been in my own backyard, didn't know they were there. But it's good information. So, and do you need people to RSVP? Would you like them to RSVP?
Yes. Ward 6 at lasvegasnevada.gov.
And again, call 229. Another number to call is 6405. That's the main number. You can also call there, and they'll make sure that your call gets routed to the right place. And last but not least, a tradition in Ward 6 since Councilwoman came on board, Bocaditos with Brune will be Thursday, December 12th.
Yes, from 9 to 11. We have so many people coming that we've actually had to remove some tables so we can put in more chairs. So it's been like standing room only. No, I think people just come to share and talk with neighbors, network, and it's like we really are building communities. So.
And you're really accessible to your constituents. They have questions. You can tell them about what's going on, and they love just having the opportunity to chat with you. And they don't have to come to City Hall. It's kind of imposing sometimes coming to City Hall, but this is just around the table with snacks and coffee and have an opportunity to chat with you.
And the last 2 times we've had our marshals there and Metro, our community safety specialist. And so we've had the residents have shared with the marshals some information about traffic safety. And so we've, as a result, the marshals have been deployed to address some of the neighbors' concerns around speeding and school safety. So it's a great way to actually share concerns directly with some of our stakeholders. So
because you folks are the eyes and the ears of the community out there. So Councilman, great discussion today, great events coming up. Kudos to you and your team for putting all that together. It's going to be a lot of fun, a great way to kick off the holidays. But we're almost out of time, so we have to tell everybody out there, we always want to hear from you. So if there's something you'd like to share with Councilwoman Nancy Brune, you can call her at 702-229-6405 or email her. Her personal address is nbrune@lasvegasnevada.gov. You can also email Ward 6 at lasvegasnevada.gov, and her team will see it as well. You can also visit our Ward 6 website or subscribe to the Councilwoman's newsletter, which I'm going to tell you how to do right after this. But great to have you on the show.
Happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving.
I know, to you as well. I can't believe it. We're at that time of year again. Here we are. So, but glad to kick it off with you this time around. So we'll see you back. I guess I'll see you next year. 2025 for this show, right? So in the meantime, again, best to you and your family.
Thank you. You too.
And folks, don't miss our next show beginning on December 5th with Ward 1 Councilman and Mayor Pro Tem Brian Knudsen. We really want to thank you for joining us, especially at this time of the year. And you can catch all of our KCLV shows on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. And watch for our QR code in the closing credits of this show to subscribe to that newsletter I mentioned. And don't forget, you can watch us live on the internet at kclv.tv. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time around.